I think, if you look at it, probably all the successful and profitable companies has to do S&OP one way or the other.
Yeah.
They may not call it S&OP. There's no one-size-fit-all solution.
Yep.
Like we just described. I remember when you introduced the S&OP, we had the guy from Unilever. He retired from Unilever coming. I can tell you what he described, what they did in Unilever would not work for BLUESCOPE. If I use that approach, it will be disaster, right?
S&OP, I call it like as art.
Yeah. It's everybody. It's like cooking,
Cooking and
different
art.
food have a different ingredient, different taste. How much you sold it for, again, right? Number two is your raw material. How well are we managing our raw material purchase? Number three is actually manufacturing efficiency. Your prime rate means what percentage of your product is the prime product. If you have a high percentage of product does not reach the quality standard, you have to sold it at a discount. That is going to affect your realized margins. Right? So in the past, another reason we have failed is in the supply chain is when we had issues in manufacturing in the procurement sourcing, we're not picking the best source. But we didn't really reflect that. And then so in the pricing meeting, we just simply looking at when the margin are being squeezed, we just simply say the prices, we need to increase price. So sometimes you're making the counterproductive decisions. So if your margin is being squeezed, it's because we didn't do sourcing properly. It's because we didn't manufacture properly. And at the same time, you try to increase price. Then what happened? Then you lose your volume, right? You lose your volume, and then at the same time, you are thinking, you have a 20,000 tons demand. You bought CRC in 20,000 tons 3 months from now, but then because you made the wrong decision, your volume is gone. You only sold 10,000 tons, so the problem just snowballed. So these are that's another important thing. You have to put these two together because that's what the uniqueness of the metal industry. I'm not saying. I don't think it's necessary for example gypsum board industry because it's quite independent, right? And but for the metals, it really you need to do, especially we call the value-added metal industry.
I think this is really interesting because you combine to decide the pricing, but both with the supply team and demand team.
Correct.
Because this is not common in let's say for the plasterboard industry because or also in the FMCG because pricing is like a bit really
it's independent, right? In FMCG you definitely you cannot fluctuate your price that much. But in our the things in plasterboard same thing. We decide the price probably. Change it twice a year is already frequent, right? Here I have to change it on a weekly basis.
Because I'm as one of the customer for the metal is always get an update price at least by Monday.
And then you also look at because that's why is it important is so then in this case. So today, actually, imagine in the pricing meeting, actually, it's not all about selling price, and also we look at the margin, and then the turnaround, we analyze the competitors' behavior, and the competitors' behavior is also related to sourcing. Because if we know that in the past, you see another wrong assumption we have always made is we assume Sunrise, Sarana, our local competition, is same like us, only sourcing from Karakata steel. But in reality, so we think when KS raises price, we believe their price cost is also going up. But in reality, they have switched to import a long time ago, and they were buying. They're quite creative. So again, you make the wrong decision with the wrong which the effect is very very dramatic.
Okay. And then what is the KPI for the team related to the S&OP in here?
I think the ultimate KPI is that do we make money? Right? No, it's true. the accuracy, the forecast accuracy is merely one element, right? Because the forecast accuracy and also if we collectively we look at the market, we get the information, because it's important for the salespeople to come back, to tell us what is our customer, producing, right? And what are the critical aspect to them. For example, for USG Borrow, we are using CGI to produce a ceiling frame and to support the plasterboard ceiling, but it's indoor applications. So in other words, the thickness of the metal is important. It's not something you can quickly change. However, the coating max is not so critical because you're indoor. Right, you're not going to have corrosion issues, anything like that. So whether it's AZ100, AZ50, or AZ30 is not critical, right? And so if you understand that, and then you can look at, okay, what are the things I can offer to the customer to give them the best things, but still maintain the quality aspect critical to them. That's the most important.
So knowing the customer needs, right?
Knowing the customer needs and knowing what their market are seeing their product, right? In the past we tend to push down what we believe are the easiest product for us to produce and what we believe are the most important quality aspect, but doesn't really care about what the customer are producing. So that is also one of the things. And then when the demand doesn't come in as we expected, we seem to be so surprised. So now you when you do that, like remember I said, create the demand. To create the demand, you have to understand what the market needs. And then you look at from your manufacturing, your cost basis. Okay, can I find the sourcing to create a very competitive product, but at the same time deliver huge margins? And then you develop this. Then you tell the sales team to say, go hit these key customers for orders. And if the orders come back, and then also at the same time we drive the suppliers, a few key suppliers, say, look, we won't have a long-term agreement, but you have to work with us to reducing your lead time and everything. But if you can do that, we'll guarantee we give you this much, the order on a consistent basis. So once you do that, you created a good cycle, a virtuous cycle, and with that you can get the biggest the margin. So another importance is not just the forecast accuracy is key, but if we looked at from a margin spread point of view, when we have a poor S&OP, resulted from many different reasons, our margin is less than $100 a ton. The lowest point was 65. Today, our 100. Right, and then we are driving it towards it. So you can imagine from 65 to 250, your gross margin increased by 4. So increased by
because of the reducing the cost, total cost, or this is increase the pricing?
Both. You understand the market behavior. You understand your product compared to all the other market. What's available? Imports, domestic. What are the ones, right? And for example, there are products we can produce. Sunrise and Surround cannot. Painted product, right?
Painted product,
right? So, but there's a plenty of competition. From imports
you can get
on the painted product.
Huge margin there.
So how do you do that? You cannot get a huge margin, but in fact, on the past, we're losing our sales volume of the painted product because import. But we're using a like iPhone to competing with a Xiaomi, on the painted product. So, but the market really demands something like Xiaomi, like the Mi Poco phone kind of thing, right? So we just say, okay, look, can we do that also? Right, and then once you can do that, then we go sit down with our customers and say, look, if you buy painted product, you need to open LC, you need to do your own S&OP planning way ahead and everything. Would it be? And then the third one is if we can get to within. So what we have tested, we find out is compare with imported product, BlueScope can have a 10% price premium because we deliver better payment terms. And because if a customer buy from BlueScope, they get 45 days, right? And then they take the product, they already roll form into roofing, and then they sell to the market. Usually when you sell to channel market, they have supplier financing, so they get the money back, right? So they actually have a positive cash flow. But if they buy imported product, they need to same thing. The import product have 2 months lead time, and then the freight and everything. So they need to plan ahead of time. They need to open LC, which tied up their banking facilities. So with all this kind of thing, you look at that. Okay, how do we play the best? The strategy, right? And then you focus on with the customer. You say, look, I don't expect to get you. For example, if a customer consuming 5,000 tons a month, and we say, look, we don't want to get all 5,000. I know you need to buy from imports and everything, but let's look at this one. And we pick one, a segment, maybe 1,000. That's all we need, right? And then this 1,000 is basically their main volume. So only 1 or 2 color, 1 or 2 thickness, and then so when you make a production, you make a one run. You don't stop the line to change color. You don't stop the line to change thickness, and so all these things increase the.
So in terms of the production costs, it can be efficient.
Yes. So, and then of course on top of that, we need to be extremely, cost efficient, right? In the past, we always say like we are a premium brand from Australia, right? Very expensive, But yes, we can still be expensive, but you have to be efficient. You need to be the
lean.
Exactly. So that has probably less related to S&OP, but the more just continue drive the lean and effective manufacturing.
Okay. I think this is interesting in the practice in here, and I guess or I believe that many companies in outside that did not yet implemented S&OP, and sometimes based on also my experience 2 years ago that when implemented the S&OP is the difficult thing is how to introduce the S&OP to the management, to the peer, and to the organization. Could you please share to us how to, if for the company that want to implement, how is the step or best step to implement it?
I think, if you look at it, probably all the successful and profitable companies has to do S&OP one way or the other. They may not call it S&OP, right? Because
it's a really effective S&OP.
Husband is a CEO, wife is a CFO, son is a production.
It's a good one.
That could be the S&OP they're already doing. Which I will say exists in Indonesia a lot. The discussion in the dinner table is probably all the critical decisions being made. And then the next morning they start. Placing POs and then sending salespeople to execute. And then for foreign company, multinational company, the branches here, I think yes, because to me, I think probably what has been hampering the acceptance, the understanding of the S&OP is probably in the past, there's a general trend has been compartmentalize the responsibility, because in the modern day sort of a MBA school, you tend to everybody want to sort of emphasize a particular function's importance. In the manufacturing, they're talking about lean manufacturing. And then so they're the guys promoting the lean consultant. And then so S&OP was sort of promoted by the supply chain. And so therefore the one in finance, the one from manufacturing, the one in sales kind of say, it's not really it's a supply chain's job. It's not my job. I don't really need to I don't see the benefit. But. So I think that's probably one of the key things. The importance to understand S&OP is it really is it's actually strategy planning. It's to me S&OP is a strategy planning not for 3 years but for next 3 months. Right. And another thing I will say. Don't try to plan for too long. Because it never makes sense, right? And that's the second thing. Because if you try to have someone coming in to teach your business to making S&OP, and the guy is talking about, we need to plan 6 months or 12 months in advance, where the industry nature limits you to only be able to, the critical time frame is that the 0 to 3 months.
Yep.
Then you lose the credibility to the team. People say, that doesn't know about our business. That's number 2. I think number 3, the important thing is there's no one-size-fit-all solution.
Yep.
Like we just described. I remember when you introduced the S&OP, we had the guy from Unilever. He retired from Unilever coming. I can tell you what he described, what they did in Unilever would not work for BLUESCOPE. If I use that approach, it will be disaster. Right?
S&OP, I call it like as art.
Yeah. It's everybody. It's like cooking.
Cooking and
different
art.
food have a different ingredient, different taste, right? You have to use and that is one thing I think you have to so S&OP itself is I would say definitely they need to see that it's not a supply chain, and then each company really has to understand their own business, understand their own market, and then to create the best a good solution of that.
Okay, I think we already discussed many things regarding 1 hour regarding sales operation planning in the BLUESCOPE. I think many insight from Pak Yan that I think we can learn, we can adopt in our business. So really thank you, Pak Yan, for the discussion. I think we can learn a lot from your insight today.
You're welcome, and it's a pleasure that we can just share. It's just learning. So I don't think it's a really I can call it insights, but it's for us. It's also continuous learning.
Okay,
the progress as well.
Yep. Because S&OP, the most important thing is to achieve business target or goal.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think another most important one is the S&OP your S&OP process need to be adaptive. It's a living thing.
Yeah.
Right. Even you're in this business, you're in this market.
Yeah.
You understand it, then you develop it. Doesn't mean it can stay the same way forever.
Yep.
Because the changes will make it. You have to change, adapt.
This is like art. And it's like cooking. This is a new word. I will input it in the book.
Right? It's like cooking. Even though the ingredient, the recipe is like this, but if you buy a different type of meat, it's different. Right? The water is different. Then you have to adapt your.
Thank you, Pak Yan, for this discussion.
Pleasure to see you again. Okay.